Hey there, superstar leaders. This is your executive director, Beth Smith, and we're going to talk about building strong leaders. And so we need to kind of change our mindset. And we are only talking about working with our downline right now. It's not me working with you, it's you working with your upcoming leaders or your current leaders, depending on where you are. So, looking at that, how are we going to, how can we identify these strong leaders? They are the ones that take responsibility for their team. They're excited. They're building their team up. Even if they have just one, they're already taking on that responsibility. They attend all trainings, national conference, leadership retreats. They get out there. They learn. They earn the incentives. They're working towards leadership incentive trip. They're working towards the next, incentive that we have. They're always working towards those incentives. Participate and contribute to team meetings, trainings, team kickoffs, a booking blitz that we do. They're part of everything that's going on. They're a strong leader. They're good at the basics of their business. They book, sell, recruit, and that is comfortable to them. And that is something that they learn through time. We're not all perfect in every one of these areas, but we have our strengths and we work on our weaknesses. They're teachable. They're open to new ideas. They don't say, oh, I tried that, because they're not going to make it if that's their attitude. They're good listeners. They listen for cues. They ask great questions. I can tell you anytime I'm talking to a new consultant if they're going to be your leader or not, just by the questions they're asking me. They're lifelong learners. They invest in outside trainings, books, coaches, different things. They're looking to learn. They don't think they've arrived, because I promise you, in this business, you've never arrived. They work their personal business. They don't, there you go, they don't ever arrive. Even when you get to national executive director, you're always learning. You're talking to other people, what are they doing that's working, and finding new ways and finding ways to better yourself. Their team sales are in their Gen Zero are 35 to 40,000, and I have to say that sometimes you are below this, but you're always working to get up here. And sometimes you promote leaders before you're here. So you gotta work on getting your team sales up. And how do you do that? You recruit. So strong leaders have to be strong recruiters, because we're always growing, and that's our goal. We want to build leaders from our personal team. We're not looking to take from other people's team, and we're not working to work with other people's teams. I hear a lot of people try to adopt people, and I understand, put them on your team page, but you have a responsibility for your team. They have great attitudes. They're ethical. They work their business the right way. They're trustworthy. They say they're going to do something, they're going to do it. And you have to, how do we get them to work on these areas? So let's look at that. Steps to building these strong leaders. We need to have a new leader training, a Rising Star program, and then once they're a leader, have trainings there also. We have to set these expectations that they're going to be doing a newsletter, they're going to be attending regular meetings, they're going to communicate with their Gen Zero. They have to know the importance of their personal business. This is key. They have to continue to recruit, book, and sell. If they don't have a strong personal business, there's no reason to them to be a leader. So they have to continue working their business. If we don't tell them what to do, how are they going to know what to do? If we don't explain to them that they have to do a newsletter, if they need to work with their Gen Zero. This is in the CER 200 binder, and yes, they should read it as a leader, but sometimes we have to show them and model this for them. We need to show them how to coach. We need to show them ideas for new consultant training. Talk through that. When I do my coaching calls with you guys each week, we talk about that stuff. And definitely keep recruiting. Step number 2, we don't want to speak to minimums. We want to raise the bar. We don't want to celebrate the minimums. If you'll notice, I have changed that. It's been about a year ago that I changed that, celebrating 1,000 plus only. And if your team's not doing 1,000 plus as new leaders, then you focus on the top 3. And once you reach that level where the top 3 are above 1,000, that's you get there. You're building strong leaders. They're not instantly made. They're built. They're always. Then if you talk about minimums, a minimum director is only making $370 with commission and overrides. That's not a whole lot to be working, their business. So you have to get them to work on their personal volume 1,500 to 2,000. Their team sales when they promote the guide is 6,000. Do all of them get to 6,000? No, but that's what you're speaking. That's what you're encouraging them to get to 6,000. In 60 days, they need to have 10,000 plus, and then 80 days, 20,000 plus. These are speaking into them. These are not requirements. I'm telling you how to build strong leaders. Step number three is to create a CER culture for your organization. Are you celebrating? Are you encouraging? Are you rewarding your Gen Zero? What you say, post, send, and do creates your culture. Is your message that you're building strong leaders? Are you showing that your leaders are strong? Because strong leaders build strong teams. And you being out there, showing them that they're strong leaders and encouraging them and not tearing them down is going to make for strong leaders. They need your support. They need your encouragement. They need to know that the sky is the limit. You earn your largest income from your level 2 people. So these overrides that you're receiving are not a finder's fee. It's what you get paid to encourage, inspire, motivate, and train your team. So I want you to know that, it comes with, you have to create this environment. You have to work it. It's not something that just happens. All leaders are readers. And if this is not you, you need to start now. You need to be reading books on leadership and direct sales. And you need to have a toolbox so you can help these leaders become strong. If you don't have a toolbox, there's, you don't have anything to give them. To earn more, you have to learn more. Model, hey, listen to this, and then read to them and share with them what you're reading. Be that example. Some leaders don't want to hear it. Some leaders don't want to have coaching calls. They don't want to talk to you. They're not interested in being a strong leader. And you know what? Until they want that, there's not much you can do about it. If they want the coaching calls and they reach out and they do agree with coaching calls, then they want to be a strong leader. And that's another way you can tell if they're a strong leader or not. Strong leaders want to have that communication, and strong leaders want to throw ideas out and, just kind of work through some of their processes. I can tell you from my experience that, they want to have that communication. Step number 4, create a duplicatable system when recognizing promotion. Here's an example of one. This is not exactly what I use. I just created a new one using the books because I loved that idea. But this was an idea given by Sherry Hedspeth. So give a book at each level of leadership. And here were her suggestions. Step number 5, model your expectations. If you model it, they'll do it. Make training a privilege. Engage them to do specific trainings, and then they earn the right to train. So if you have new leaders or upcoming leaders, like senior consultants, they can do the new consultant training, but they have to attend the training 2 times to be able to teach this training. I love this idea. The fast track into leadership or your Rising Star program, they have to be a director and attend it 2 times to be able to teach this training. The new leader training, promoted to SD or above to be able to teach this training, because they have to have some experience to be able to teach new leaders, right? And then recognize them when they speak through the introduction. So if you're introducing your new leaders, recognize them there and tell why should they be teaching this training, and that will be definitely recognition for them. Step number 6, build a strong leader mindset. So in them, you have to speak these things into them, creating success, recruiting, that they're strong leaders. This 35 to 40,000 team sales, you have to get that number in their head so they understand that that's what they need to reach for. They need to reach for 6 to 8 parties a month. They need to reach to set new consultants up for success. They need to attend, the leadership training or meeting once a month. And they need to host a new meeting or training once a month. This is a requirement in the CER 200 binder. Attend leader trainings monthly. We do that on our team. Not all teams do that, but I do think it is definitely a requirement that we should put as an expectation. We need to learn as leaders, and we need to be learning always, continually growing. And it's not your job to be the only food that is fed to your new leaders. They need to get it from other places too. So pulling in other leaders and getting ideas from other leaders' trainings. Systems in place. We need to build this in their mindset that they need to have new consultant trainings, new director emails, so everybody gets the same information. Have a Rising Star or Fast Track to Leaders with outline and handouts.
and make sure they are comfortable booking, recruiting, and selling. This gives a sense of ease when you promote a leader or when they promote to leader. They see your system and it's duplicatable. I always try to share what I'm doing. It changes often, so I continually have to share that, but like I'm going to share with you on the director's page are leadership documents that I have set in there. So I mean, it will help you as leaders have things to use. Step number 7, the one-on-one coaching calls. Again, not everybody chooses to do this, and I promise you the ones that don't do it will end up demoting because they're not getting fed and they're not feeding themselves and they're not flourishing. These coaching calls are a process. I know you don't feel comfortable at the very beginning doing them, but it's just a call saying, hey, what are you excited about? You know, what are you working on? And when you can, you help them, you coach them through this. So have them create an action plan so they're guiding the call, not you. And you know my system, you know what the questions are. I post them, I share them with you guys. This is what I ask you every time. But it leads you to the discussions where you need to be. So then you coach them to coach their teams. That one-on-one coaching call that we do, this is what you need to do with your upcoming leaders and your new leaders. You need to always make sure they're focusing on their personal business, help them work through issues, and teach them how to recognize strengths. Not just focus on the weaknesses. Please focus on strengths. That's going to build their confidence. Step number 8, recognize behaviors that we want repeated. Recognize the 2,000 plus as leaders. Whatever you do, make it obvious and have them look at it. Like if you're talking about your newsletter, you need to do a newsletter. Here's mine. Here's what I do. I coach you every 2 weeks to look at numbers, so what I do with you, that's what you do with your future leaders and your current leaders. You notice that our team continues to grow. That's a focus of mine. I suggest you focus on this too. Tell her to duplicate what you're doing. Step number 9, train your team and model to leaders how to train. Training is important. Model and train a trickle-down process. Make it duplicatable. They can use the trainings that you use with your Gen Zero to share with their Gen Zero. Train your processes. Train a strong personal business. Show them how you do it. Share with them what you're doing. Let them train on where they are strong. And fix problems. If there's issues, approach them, talk to them, help them, encourage them to get through this. But build on their strengths, not their weaknesses. And last of all, do not enable a leader. Do not do her work for her. Empower her. Encourage her. Show her what needs to be done, but don't hand feed her because she is not going to grow as a leader doing that. Thank you all for attending. This training is just an overview on how to build strong leaders. It is a process. These are just a few of the steps. You never really arrive at this process. You continue learning and growing yourself and the way you work with your team. Be patient with yourself and allow your systems to grow as you do. Thank you from your Executive Director, me, Beth Smith.